Hey there, it's Elias here again. Once again from Moto Park in Trenching, where today we're focusing on KTM. On the first day we had a Squarna and a gas at our disposal, and of course you can watch the video about that right here. If someone puts an image here, you'll be able to click on it. And today we're going to talk about the KTM, a completely new range of motocross models. So starting with the general changes that we've seen this year. Of course there are 2-stroke and 4-stroke engines, but most importantly the front suspension has been changed. We have a new hydro stop, a new setting, a completely new rear shock absorber, greater travel even though it's shorter. So that's a big change when it comes to the suspension. How does it perform while riding? Really, very nicely. I think they were set up a bit too stiff for my riding style, although I was already able to enjoy riding here a lot. Despite the considerable bumps on the track, I was able to try accelerating a bit and hold the throttle open. Of course, on the braking, the bikes behave very, very stably. I'm sure you're curious about the direct differences between KTM and Husqvarna, because a lot of people say that this is just a Husqvarna. Now, I guess it's the yellow, white and gray KTM. There are quite a few differences, but we'll talk about that separately. Today we are focusing only on the KTM, so as I mentioned, there's new suspension and there's also a new frame that has been adapted for all the engines. In the 4 strokes, they all share the same frame. We have the same engine mounts, simply to streamline the production process and make everything run more smoothly. Of course, there's new bodywork as well. We finally got these cool mounts. Maybe the freestyle guys will be able to grab onto them too. So, Mikołaj, I'm waiting for you to check and let us know if it's possible here. Is this enough for freestyle or do you need the regular ones? Moving on, of course, there are new footpegs wider and longer, I believe 5 millimeters wider and 8 millimeters longer. So that's quite a difference, but they're also angled more, which means you automatically grip the bike more tightly with your knees. And I have to admit that's definitely the case. After my recent lack of motocross riding and spending a lot of time on pit bikes, I had a bit of trouble remembering just how tightly you need to grip the bike with your legs, but it definitely works. All the 4 strokes have received the same radiators, so that's another plus. The lower radiator hoses have been routed upwards, so when these are used in Enduro bikes next year, they'll be a bit more tucked away and less vulnerable in case of a fall. And moving on, all the bikes have, of course, received a quick shifter. I think that was the biggest novelty when this motorcycle was announced, even before the Supercross season, because it was dictated by the regulations that require the bike to be a production model in order to be allowed to compete. And today we had the chance to test how it works without letting off the throttle, whether at high or low revs. You shift up without the clutch and the ignition is literally cut off for a split second, so the gear can engage smoothly. This also led to the gearbox being rebuilt, and even Panek was involved in this process, so I think that's really cool. Because the company that until now only made gearboxes for Dakar bikes and factory motorcycles is now putting the same effort into all motocross machines, and we all know what kind of reputation that is. The system with the selectors has also been slightly redesigned, so it works nicely at high revs. I think it's not quite perfect yet, because the guys said they've been working on how much the ignition should be cut. If it's too long, the bike chokes, and if it's too short, it acts like a clutch and can make the bike lift up a bit. So at the highest revs, I didn't quite feel it. About 3/4 of the time it worked great for me. Now moving on step by step, the 1/4 liter now revs up to 14,000 RPM. So incredible performance lots and lots of changes in the engine. mechanics will definitely appreciate these changes here, because they've worked on the cylinder head covers, especially for the smaller displacements, so you can remove them without any issues. The same goes for the 450. They've increased the clearance a bit so that there won't be such problems. They've also improved them so they shouldn't leak anymore. So I think everyone who has struggled with this will appreciate it. Moving on, even though the engine looks very similar in the 250, the piston has also been changed. The stroke and the piston diameter have both been changed, so the engine runs completely differently now. Man, for me this was one of the coolest bikes, one of the best tests. I'll say which one won in a moment, but honestly the quarter liter makes an incredible impression. Whether it's on the stronger map or the weaker one, really it's a blast. Of course the 350 and 450 also got new engines. This was all caused by tilting all the engines 3 degrees more upright in order to further centralize the rotating masses. The front sprockets were lowered by 3 millimeters, also to ensure that the forces transmitted by the chain to the rear wheel bring the center of the sprocket and the center of the output shaft closer to the center of the swing arm axle. So really a cool solution. I think these are such minor changes that only the best riders will notice them, but you really can feel it. The 3.5 and 4.5 are really great bikes. Despite their immense power, they're very enjoyable to ride. And now the creme de la creme two strokes, the 125, the 250, and of course the 300 that everyone has been waiting for. Completely new electronic exhaust valve, a completely new fuel injection system for the mixture, injecting it directly into the engine. We have 2 fuel injectors, one before and one after the throttle valve, which allows the mixture to be introduced directly. Why this injection system has only now been introduced and has replaced the TPI, we'll discuss. Why the TPI system was never used in motocross models at all, you'll read about that in the magazine, so be sure to look out for it. And now, let's go through all the bikes one by one. The 125 has an electric starter. It's simply a beautiful thing. This machine rides like a dream. And in fact, this was my favorite motorcycle of this test. The 250 is also really nice. It doesn't have that well-known two-stroke hit we're used to. The power delivery is incredibly smooth, so the bike rides as if on rails. And as for the 300, well, for now I think it's a bike for daredevils. I only have the strength to ride it for half a lap, but someone who really knows what they're doing will definitely have a great time, because the engine pulls smoothly from the very bottom all the way to the top. And it has an enormous power reserve, so compared to it, riding a 450 feels like riding a bicycle. Not in the sense that it's lighter, but simply in the sense that it doesn't try to kill you. And this particular one is like sitting on a large gas cylinder and then just hitting the release valve so that it powerfully shoots off. So really, truly amazing motorcycles. I spent an incredible 2 days here riding. I won't say now which one I enjoyed riding more, but I'll try to prepare a comparison between the KTM and the Husqvarna for you, so you can decide for yourselves which brand suits you better. So what now? You absolutely have to try riding them for yourselves. I know the prices won't be low, but it's worth it. It's worth investing in a bike like this. The new motocross bikes are doing an amazing job. I even started missing motocross myself. It crossed my mind what I could do, what I could sell, to be able to buy a bike like this again for riding on the track and keep it in the garage. But for now, I'm still out of ideas. And so as soon as the opportunity arises, as soon as a buyer for a kidney shows up, one of these beauties will be standing in my garage. Well, we also had Enduro bikes for riding, but when it comes to KTM Enduros, they are exactly the same motorcycles as last year. They only got new colors, so the easiest way would be for you to check out our tests of the previous models. How did those bikes come onto the market? Well, obviously the 350 is a really cool bike, because here on the extreme track, the Super Enduro one, it was probably the most enjoyable to ride, since it has plenty of power in reserve. And when it comes to two strokes, it's clear that the 300 rules. So that's about it. Check out Motocycle magazine, check out our Facebook page. There's a lot of material on YouTube as well. So what else? I hope we'll see each other soon. Bye!